I've always loved the Mediterranean-style gardens, so this DIY project involved me building a garden outdoor sink out of concrete in a spot receive for the front yard. This project took about 6 months for many reasons, and in the end, it turned out to my satisfaction. Since I had never done a DIY project with concrete before, this was a great challenge for me. I saw some garden outdoor sink patterns on Pinterest and researched for related videos on YouTube. First, I needed to build a mold for pouring concrete out of wooden boards, and use this mold to make the concrete tabletop for this project. I ordered plans I needed online based on the design drawing, and I used the relatively inexpensive fiber board. I tried to put boards together and thought about how to solve some practical problems in the cement construction process. On my second attempt assembling the mold, I modified the height of the mold and reinforced board joints with some hardware. This allowed the board mold to withstand the weight of the cement. The sink needed to be embedded in the middle of the countertop, so when the mold was made, it needed to be pre-positioned. I used structural adhesive to seal the bolt joints, which effectively prevents the cement mortar from leaking to the outside of the molder before it sets. I spread structural adhesive with my fingers to make sure there are no gaps between the bolts. Then I started to create the rebar skeleton in the mold. I chose an 8mm engineer rebar, cut it to the required length with a cutter, and simply fix it into a cross shape using practice ties, which should be slightly smaller than the size of the molder. This rebar skeleton plays an important role in stabilizing the structure during the concrete pouring process. The mixing ratio of concrete is 2 parts of water, 2 parts of sand, and 1 part of cement. This ratio can be modified according to the actual situation. Before formally pouring the mold, be sure to adjust the placement for subsequent movement. The weight of this concrete countertop is amazing, and after I finished this concrete countertop, it took 6 adult males to combine their efforts to move it. In addition, we need to finish this concrete pouring in 1 day, and it's best not to stop in between. When the mold is 1/2 finished, put the prepared rebar bomb in. Make sure it's in the middle level of the concrete. Then as you continue pouring, you can sprinkle in some small stones, which will strengthen the concrete. When we finish pouring the mold, you can use a rubber hammer to tap around the mold to let the water vapor vibration in the concrete float up. Then use a wooden strip to push and pour back and forth on the surface of the concrete to make the surface look smoother. The time required for the concrete to rest varies depending on the climate and the temperature and takes about 3 to 7 days. It should be placed in a cool environment, out of the sun, in dry and muggy climates. It's a good idea to resin the surface with water daily to prevent the cement from cracking. If there are some small cracks on the surface, it's not a big problem and we will then tile its surface. After waiting for the resting period, we need to remove the wooden board mold very carefully. Not to use an iron hammer to knock vigorously. We can choose to use a rubber hammer to gently tap and use a screwdriver to slowly pry the boards apart. I began to build the base of the outdoor sink in the yard. I cut a piece of tub to base on the ground and then put the brace up. Extra care should be taken with the angle grinder, which is a very dangerous tool, and it's better to use a marble machine to cut the bricks and ceramic tiles. However, because it was the first time to operate it, the bricks that were based up didn't look very beautiful. Since my skills were not yet good, I asked a professional friend to help me. Leveling and tiling brick walls is a very specialized skill that requires years of practical experience. In my free time, I rush to the building materials market and selected the ideal small blue square tiles. They look a bit like the mosaics used in swimming pools. Before laying these small tiles, you need to mix white cement and glue as a pasting agent, and use a jagged trowel to pour out the texture on the wall. This method can make the tiles stick more firmly. After completing the tile paving, tile gaps we use white cement to caulk. Can also use some newer materials to caulk, such as epoxy sand, etc. They are used in outdoor to have a more stain-resistant anti-mid-roll. We extended the indoor power outlet and the Wi-Fi network to the bottom of the outdoor sink and received water and electricity connection for the automatic watering system on the side. I ordered an aluminum cabinet door online. This aluminum door can be installed using the glass glue bonding method. Due to my inexperience with cement mortar construction, that I didn't completely rely on myself to complete. However, I am quite satisfied with the final result of this outdoor garden sink, which has become a major highlight of my front yard that combines practicality and beauty. Please forgive me for being a bit slow in making and updating the video due to my recently busy schedule. Next video, I will show how to transform a 1963 old wooden round table into the scenery in the garden. This is Jackie's Home Decor channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.